hydrogen project, which is
Yes.
the biggest in Sub-Saharan Africa,
Yes.
or set to be. And then I saw that earlier this year, there was you signed an additional agreement for the first phase of the multi-billion-dollar project. What is that?
Yeah. So that it's still the same project.
Right.
Yeah. So what happened is in 2021, of course, we finalized our green hydrogen plant as part of our Harambee Prosperity Plan, and then we went out to market. So we did a market sounding to speak to the players in the green hydrogen industry, so that as a country we can find out what are the possibilities for Namibia, what potential do we have, and then we engaged quite a number of developers, and then we went out to market with a request for proposal, and that is with a bid. We got quite a number of bidding responses, and then we selected who we call as the preferred bidder, and then hyphen. So we appointed a hyphen, and we made that announcement at COP26 in Glasgow. And then after that one, we thought it was going to take us 3 months to sign what we call an agreement with them. It took it 18 months. So earlier, what you noticed earlier was this year in May, towards the end of May, that is when we signed the agreement. So we have now signed what we call a feasibility implementation agreement. And what it entails actually is, of course, you need to do a feasibility study, especially to find out what is the best price at which you can produce hydrogen, and green hydrogen from that region. Because what we understand is if green hydrogen is the oil of the future, that is green hydrogen and its derivatives, and it is to compete and displace fossil fuel, then the price should be right. But currently, the price gap is green hydrogen and oil, and we need to close that gap. And we need to understand, of course, there's a lot of technology.
Because of the cost of electrolyzers.
Yeah, because of the cost of electrolyzers, and then sometimes it's also the conversion, because you do the electrolysis and you get hydrogen. And the transportation of hydrogen is challenging. So you need to convert hydrogen into one of the derivatives, whether it is methanol or whether it is ammonia. Yes, exactly. And then if you convert that one, then of course that conversion process can also be expensive, whatever it is. And if it is hydrogen, then there's a transportation to consider. So now I need to do the feasibility and study to understand, yes, we understand that there's good wind resources, solar radiation. To which extent does it have? Will we be able to produce green hydrogen 24 hours? Because the more you can produce, the lower the cost of the production itself. So they are now going to do that for the next 24 months. And then after they do that, hopefully it will be a tick. And if it's a tick, then we go into the development stage and then start producing hydrogen maybe towards the end of 2027, between 2027 and 2029. So that is really what it is all about.
Okay. So it's a long process.
Yes, it's a long process.
Did you think that there was a lot of hype around green hydrogen production last year? Not just in Namibia, but other Mauritania stands out as an African country that had enormous green hydrogen ambition. Egypt, we recorded numerous projects in Egypt. Is it all going to come to fruition? And is it a problem if it doesn't?
So we are hoping that, of course, it comes to fruition. The good thing, what we have currently, is that there is no competition. Let's start there. Because when we hear, of course, there is Namibia, and Namibia has got good resources, and we understand that we are probably one of the potential top 4 or 5 countries that can produce hydrogen at competitive rates. And then, of course, globally, you've got countries like Chile, that is the ones we can compete with, and there's countries like Australia, you've got Oman, and there are quite a number of countries in the Middle East. And like you said, then you've got Egypt, you've got Mauritania, you've got Morocco, and Morocco, especially the larger market for green hydrogen, will be Europe, Japan, and South Korea. And if you look at South Korea and Japan, Australia is closer. If you look at Europe, Morocco is closer, and they will even be able to transport hydrogen through a pipeline, and therefore that puts probably Namibia and Chile a little bit at a distance, but we believe that will play a role. Why? Because the demand is high. Many people are saying, just looking at the current level of ammonia that is already in use, the grey ammonia and the grey hydrogen, if that is all we need to replace with green hydrogen, then all the current projects that have been discussed are not enough to replace the green hydrogen. And then That is before we get to fossil fuel. So that is just to replace the coal. Now, will they all happen? I think what will determine whether they happen or not, it's the price. So if the market is there, and the market is there because the demand for grey ammonia is already there, the demand for grey hydrogen is already there, and of course, to the extent that we can afford, everybody will want to see to go green because we understand that we have got a commitment to the climate and to the environment. Companies have, countries have, they have made commitments, and we are holding each other accountable by all the COPs. This year we will have COP28 in UAE, and I'm sure countries will have to talk about, okay, what is their decarbonization effort? What have they done? What are they going to do? What are the alternatives? So they will not come off if one of two things happen. Maybe the price is not right, completely out of market, and when not right, it means that companies will not be able to make profit.
Right.
Or the number two will be the technology, of course, is not working, or something else comes up. Whatever that something else is coming up. But the alternative are saying, oh, will everybody just give up on being environmentally right and doing what is correct for the planet? I think that will not be the case.
Sure. And what about because Morocco also has off-take agreements, I understand. The EU has a hydrogen target for sourcing hydrogen from within the EU and outside of the EU. Do you have are you in dialogue with the European Union about that, or about other countries who are like potential off-takers for the hydrogen that you're set to produce by 2030?
Yes. My understanding and the challenge that we have currently is that there is no off-takers. Off-take agreements have been signed yet.
In any hydrogen project?
Yes, in most of the hydrogen projects, so maybe in the pilots and so on. But so there is a lot of talks, there is a lot of projects, but off-take agreements have not been signed yet. And again, it's still because of the pricing that is not yet determined, the technology that's
is that a concern? Because it's just the
it,
industry of the future.
yeah, of course. So it is a concern, and one will want to lock it down as soon as possible. However, the one thing that one needs to look at it, saying, yes, they are not signed. So what do we have in place? For example, Namibia and the EU, we have entered into a memorandum of understanding. So yes, it's not as binding as off-take agreement. So Namibia and Germany, we have entered into a memorandum of understanding. Namibia and the Netherlands, we have entered into a memorandum of understanding. And the memorandum of understanding is even especially between Namibia and the EU. In October, we are going to have a business forum. Still in this month, towards the end of the month, we are going to have a business forum in Brussels, and we are going to talk about that memorandum of understanding that we have in terms of green hydrogen and in terms of critical raw materials that Europe want to have access to Namibia's critical raw materials and to green hydrogen. And that memorandum of understanding, like I said, although it's not binding, at least it makes a way of saying that there is interest, and the moment you can give us prices, because it's almost like a chicken and egg. They say, we cannot commit to you because we don't know how much you will deliver, by when will you deliver it, at which price. So I cannot give you off-take on that one. And that's why now from our side, we're saying, okay, fine. We are now going to do a feasibility implementation agreement. We have concluded it. We will now do a feasibility study so that we can determine how much are we able to produce annually, at which cost exactly, at which price will we be able to produce it, how often we'll be able to deliver, and then once we have given that, then that is then when the negotiation can start.
And I mean, the IEA put out a report recently saying that only 4% of the green hydrogen projects have reached final investment decision that have been announced. So there's now we're in 2021 when you first launched your tender, or when you first announced IPO, and 2022 was an enormous year of hype around hydrogen. And now this year, yes, there are more projects, but it's still a bit flat because we still don't see a lot of concrete evidence of these projects moving forward.
Yes.
Is that do you think it's a concern that it's going this? I understand it makes sense what you're saying, that it has to move this slowly for these reasons, but is this a concerning that it's going?
No, I'm not concerned at this stage, because the good news is the hype is still high. Okay. So you get concerned when the hype starts dying, because like you say, the news becomes so old that it's okay, fine, I can get done this. So the hype is still there. And why is the hype there? The need is there. As long as the need is there, as long as the energy is there, we will find the answer. and therefore, at this stage, like a friend of mine who we talk about in green hydrogen, he says, Nangula, this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And therefore, if people came in for the sprint, definitely they would lose steam. If you are here and you understand that it is not a sprint, it is a marathon, then you will not lose energy because 2 years have passed. You have to plan for a future. We are planning for 2050 coming to net zero. And therefore we cannot be short-sighted and think about, okay, we're looking, no, yes, we are not where we were yesterday.
Right.
And that is a good thing. We are not where we were yesterday. We are not where we were the day before yesterday, and we definitely plan to be tomorrow where we are not today. And what has happened, for example, in Namibia, on the 28th of September, we a project by CMB Tech. It's a Belgian company, and Ottawa and List, which is a Namibian company, they have launched a pilot project that will see the construction of the first green hydrogen station in Namibia. They have put the first brick there. It was launched by our Minister of Finance and Public Enterprises, and that is excitement. We did not have that project a year ago. We did not have it 2 years ago, and they have gone through all the local processes that are required for them to do the procurement. They are starting, and that is a company that is number one. They are investing their own funds. They are having their own offtake because that company is looking towards decarbonizing their own shipping line, and they have already started their pilot plan. And what they're saying is that yes, they want to get a good price, but it's not so much a good cost, but it's not so much as a price for selling, because for them it's a cost to them to decarbonize their own shipping line, and that's why they started the project. And they said somebody needs to put the dollar first, and they want to be the first. So to us, that is a big step forward, and we are looking forward to seeing that station coming into production, and we're looking forward to see what they will do further. And we have also gotten a village, the Rest village, that is also looking forward to seeing the first production of green hydrogen, hopefully next year. That is also, and then we've got one or two other projects that have come in the country, and then many other people that are lining up and looking for land. So there's a lot of activities that is happening, and therefore we're still excited.
And what about the vertical integration? You said in the panel discussion we had a year and a half ago, one of the big sort of priorities of yours is to have to make sure that you take the local economy along with you, or the local people along with you. How is that planning out?
Yes. So that is planning out well, because for example, the Rest village that I'm talking about, it's local entrepreneurs, local young Namibians that have got a SME that is now having, also they have got a memorandum of understanding with Fortescue, which is a large, it's a large Australian company who is almost seeing what they're doing, and if they are able to deliver something, then they can see how they can partner with them. We have got also something in what we call a wave technology. We again use waves to produce hydrogen. It's a local enterprise called Kauko Energy, owned by Namibians, and they've entered into a memorandum of understanding with a company called AW Energy, which is a Finnish company, and they will want to see how they can produce hydrogen. So we are using a number of SMEs that we have in the program we call the high potential pools, and we are saying how we can fit them together with international players. We are also still working towards the development of Namibian skills, and the first set of bursaries were given with the funding that we got from the German government, and we are in the process of recruiting the second set of funds.
Right. Yes. And what about another sector? So green hydrogen obviously is the main one.
Yes.
It's what has put Namibia on the map to some extent. What other sectors are you targeting in Namibia?
Of course, the one that I will start with has got people asking us. We talk about green hydrogen, but you might have heard that they have found oil and gas in Namibia. So yes, Total Energies and Shell have found oil in Namibia. They announced this last year already, and they are both busy with appraisals. So we are seeing what will come out of the appraisal. So hopefully in the next 12 months, we will see whether Namibia will start being an oil-producing country that we have got. Of course, we will not be producing in 12 months, but we will understand the result of the appraisal wells, because then they will start development. After maybe 12 months, they will start development, and maybe by 2030, we will see first oil coming out of Namibia.
Does that put your green ambitions at odds?
Not at all. And that is the question we get, and that's why I say you will look at it, and I think our Minister of Mines and Energy better articulates that answer than I can. And it is because where we are in Africa, we call it that we are in energy poverty. And at this stage, if you are in energy poverty, we know that fossil fuel is not something that we say we will eradicate fossil fuel. It will continue to be part of the energy mix. And if other people are playing a role, and Namibia has got oil, and we have got energy poverty, we know that we can make that contribution. Definitely our green ambition. Namibia is a very, very it's a country that is very, very committed to the environment. It is protected in terms of our constitution, but having fossil fuel as part of the energy mix will continue to be part of the planet. When we are talking towards 2050, we are not saying eradicate fossil fuel, we are saying get to net zero. And we believe that Namibia will not be at net zero. We will still be in the positive of contributing more to the environment than whatever it is, that whatever is the fossil fuel that we are producing or anything will definitely still be less than our contribution to the grid. But that oil is something that will come and solve the challenges that we face today as a country. We've got high unemployment, we've got high youth unemployment in the region of 40s, and therefore that is something that we cannot just close our eyes and say, no, do not look at that one. If it's something that we can get to contribute to fighting the challenges that we are facing and meet the needs that are there. And then, of course, we have got a mining sector. Namibia is the third largest producer of uranium, and we have got still more companies in uranium. And maybe I'm talking about uranium because there is a link between uranium as a mining and its contribution to energy also. We have got lithium and many other minerals that are required in energy transition. And then we've got tourism, we've got agriculture. So we definitely making sure that we continue to diversify our economy, and we do not rely on green hydrogen and oil and gas. We will continue to drive various other sectors.
Right. So it's still just oil contribution will increase, green hydrogen will increase.
Yes. And they will probably blow up the figures, but we will make sure that the other sectors are looking good.
And what does that mean for the world? For you, say you go to COP every year, what does that mean for the future? How do you see the future trajectory? Is it for Namibia specifically, and just generally for other countries who've been seizing on green hydrogen? So green hydrogen is a way out of energy policy, but you're saying it's not necessarily enough, especially if they found oil and gas.
Yeah, so I think for us it's number one, green hydrogen and oil and gas and other sectors. They contribute in number one, it's a way out of poverty for Namibia. Poverty in a sense of unemployment, in a sense of inequality, in a sense of really poverty, but it's also a way out of energy poverty. So it will take us out of poverty, and it will take us out of energy poverty, and it will also help us out of poverty, but also into wealth, if we can put it that way, creating wealth for the current generation as well as sustainable wealth for the future generation. And that is really what we want to see for Namibia and for the Namibians.
And sustainable wealth can also include oil and gas.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Okay, great.